we're continuing this conversation this morning, and we truly appreciate all your time. And so, one of the questions that I wanted to raise, I often very intrigued about hearing from a customer's perspective, what their experiences have been when it came to selecting or dealing with an office equipment
Sure.
supplier. We currently enjoy the benefit of servicing your company, but I wanted to go back, dig a little bit more about your personal experience. What led
Yeah.
you to choose our company, and how
Yeah.
your feelings about that?
It's an interesting conversation because we're a small business. There are 12, 11 employees in the company, and we occupy a single office. We don't have branches. The amount of printing that we do is very low relatively to some of these other companies that you probably work with. And we always, I would say it took us a long time to think, to even consider working with a sort of a leased management solution. And we're certainly not taking advantage of all the bells and whistles that are offered with your firm and any others. I understand that completely. And we, for the longest time, we just had a machine that was sitting on a desk, and we would just kind of print to it, and that was it. And as we started to grow with the number of employees sitting at desks and stuff, I just felt that it was a little bit more convenient for us to have a larger machine that could handle more volume. So we went out and we bought a laser printer. And then I became like the IT guy for the laser printer when it wasn't working and stuff. And so it was many years ago now that we were just introduced to, I don't know, I was some provider of this type of, managed solution. And I called up a friend of mine who was at the time running a software company. And I asked him about it to say, like, is this something that's useful? And I think he had about 18 employees. And he said, it's something, you end up putting it on your books as, the office expense. And it's just something that then you don't have to think about. And it's very true, because, you sign an agreement for a couple of years, and it sits there and it does what it needs to do, and your team members have access to it. And then you're not thinking about it. And all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, the lease is coming up. We have to discuss options. And so it is very convenient, and it's very nice not to have to worry and think about it. And for me, that's really what the biggest benefit is on any partnership that we've had with this type of, printing solution.
Okay.
My experience, though, that I can really appreciate about what you guys do is that you're silent in the background when we need you to be, but you're also very supportive when something comes up that I need to get addressed. And that's something that, it does go back to the relationships that we're talking about. And my relationship is with you, but I know that you have a good, strong team that you've brought in. And so I have confidence in the members of your team. And so through that confidence and the trust that we've built, I'm confident in the people that you brought into your team to be able to, pick up the phone and say, hey, this is going on. I would say we're pretty low maintenance when it comes to stuff like that, is that we don't really need a lot of things, because we're not doing a tremendous amount of volume but it's nice and convenient to be able to have that peace of mind. And yeah, at some point, as we develop and build the balance between digital management of data and physical need of, having a document, right. There is a lot there that we're not yet taking advantage of. But I have confidence in your team to be able to learn about my business in ways to then provide those suggestions. And I've never had that type of confidence in another provider.
Well, thank you very much. And I also, if I recall, when we first got engaged in supporting your account, you had some existing contracts with another
Correct.
company, and there was some the existing leases that needed to terminate. And, I often say, listen, these are complicated processes, okay? But if we can create the trust and that we have your best interests at heart, and let's just wind down the contract, whatever it is, we have to do a payoff of an agreement
Yeah.
or hold all of those things that are complicated, but ultimately they rely on the trust that we are going to commit
Yeah.
to do this through a period of time. And I, I'm super fortunate that I have a team members that have been they're very organized
Yeah.
and help us keep things straight so that when
Well, it's
uh,
great because you guys deal with it. I don't have to deal
well,
with it.
that's
That's
it. I
really the
mean,
big part of it.
yeah. Ultimately, we put the problem on our side, but
Correct.
that's what we do.
Right.
That is part of the solution.
Yeah.
On the other note, and I truly, this is a conversation a lot of people look at us as okay, well, this is a printing device, and that's what it can do. But there is um, right now. We're in the imaging, whether you print the image or you scan the image or you save it, you share, you edit it. There is a lot of different areas that apply to the document. And I know that perhaps there are some industries that are a little bit more affected than others. You in the window custom in the business that you're in, maybe security is not the most um, uh, uh, complicated part. But
Right.
as you get into different fields,
Oh yeah.
security, encryption, email, I know that you have an interest for law, especially on that. That will be
Correct.
an area in which there's a constant evolution, and we as a company have continued to try to evolve ourselves
Yeah.
to provide different services to growing businesses like
Right.
yours. Okay, but what we always say is that I wish if I talk to a new customer, I always like to say, well, I wish you could talk to some of my other customers and say, they were in a similar situation and we helped them through that situation
Yeah.
into
Oh, you're always welcome to have people call me and speak to stuff like that for sure.
okay.
No problem at all.
Thank you, Jesse. So a little bit to wrap up the session. I wanted to really we asked you for a few minutes of your time this morning. I
Yeah.
know and we're grateful that you made some time for us.
I'm grateful for the
Um,
opportunity as well.
if you had to share with other people that may be in a similar situation and looking at an office equipment provider, ultimately, what would be your advice to them?
Um, it's an interesting question. Um, if for somebody that has never gone into it, I think it's easier to have that conversation with a company or an office manager who's dealt with the concept before of having sort of large scale office management, print document management, um, because it can be a very complicated uh, world with the models of the machines and the different things that they could do. And I know that you guys are really good at sort of just cutting through all of that nonsense. Somebody that has never been into that before, I think it's a good way to sit down and say, it's one part of your business that is very easily delegated or outsourced, that you don't have to spend a lot of time and energy involving yourself in. And time is really the most valuable thing that all of us are having to deal with. And even now, I'm working from home. I have to create a lot of documents here while I'm working at home. So our new arrangement has a smaller machines that we're putting in different places. You don't have to just have one single machine. So we now have multiple devices, and I've got one, in my closet that I'm able to print to and use the material. So there's a lot more versatility there than just the traditional having this big tan machine sitting in the corner of an office somewhere.
Okay, very good. Okay, well, Jesse, thank you once again for making the time this morning. We uh, I'm appreciative of your business. I appreciate of our partnership, and look forward to many years of continuous support to your company. We're living in complicated times right now, and sometimes through relationships is how we support one another
Yeah.
to for a brighter future. I want to congratulations on your beautiful family.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Uh, I've heard their opinions in the
Yeah,
background,
they
and
make they make their voices known. That's for sure.
and um, and we wish you the best on all your future endeavors. Okay.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much for joining me this morning with our in this brief session of RDS Talks.
That's a pleasure.